All right, shall we?
Let us.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Russ.
I'm Mark.
And this is a spirited endeavor.
Prime in the Pump edition.
That's right.
All right. We've managed to get our hands on a Weller. In fact, we have a backup bottle of Weller also.
Yeah, we did a previous, we've gone through this one before. It's just been a bit, and it was always in comparison to something else.
Right. We've never had it stand on its own, so we thought it'd be good to kind of revisit this one. It's been a minute.
And it's Weller, so there is that.
There is that. So, so now we've tried it. We've tried it against some other whiskeys, some other wheated bourbons, and this one it's solid.
Yeah, it fared well. I don't know if I would have put it again at the top of the list, but it was right. It was a good solid whiskey.
Yeah. The question you got to ask is, is it worth the hunt? Is it worth the price? If you're paying for it on the secondary market. Luckily, we were able to buy this one for retail, and that one's like $32 and everything. So that made it a great whiskey for what it was.
Yeah, we've been very fortunate to have some really excellent liquor stores in our area that don't price gouge, and generally have a pretty good selection and will put stuff like this out.
Yeah, for sure. Now there's others that that Weller puts out that we've not been able to get our hands on. The antique, the barrel proof. There's a slew of them.
Yeah, no doubt.
But we're gonna just try this one. It's like I said, we haven't touched this one in a minute, so we want to kind of go through it and just kind of have it stand on its own.
Yeah, I think it sounds good.
All right. Well. All right, so this one is 45% ABV, and it is a wheated bourbon.
Which we've been pretty fond of wheated whiskeys in general.
Yes, that is true. Wheated whiskeys are amongst some of our favorites, and
yeah, because we've done, what was it, Bernheim, we've done Larceny, which is wheated as well.
Yeah, Larceny.
Maker's Mark, I think.
Yeah, there was a
If I'm
Maker's
remembering
Mark
correctly.
that we did. Yeah.
So, we've been through a few of them that have been wheated. And again, last I remember, this was up towards the top of the list, if not at the top.
Yeah, absolutely. And a Laws.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
yes, you're
Laws.
absolutely right. Yeah.
All right, so it's got a great nose.
It really does. It's a subtle nose. There's certainly notes there, but there's no alcohol vapor or anything of that nature.
Yeah, and you're getting the caramel. You're getting a little bit of oak in there. Vanilla notes. Maybe a little bit of fruitiness. I think it's more of a citrus rather than a cherry, like you would get with a.
Yeah, I'm definitely not getting cherry at this point.
This is not a cherry forward whiskey, or at least that's my experience.
Yeah.
Our experience with it. There's nothing off-putting in there and everything. It is a very pleasant nose.
No, absolutely.
It's got beautiful oils to it.
Yeah.
It's got great viscosity. Obviously it's been proofed down just a little bit, but it's still 45% is fairly stout.
Yeah, it's not a slouch by any means.
Yeah.
Well, shall we?
Let us.
Cheers.
Cheers. It's sweet on the tongue.
Yes.
And the spice comes in a little later. But I'm picking up the cherry on the palate. There's a strong cherry, like a ripe cherry. Beautiful caramel. And on the back end, you're getting that sort of I don't know, like a little bit of tobacco maybe. Something a little dark in there.
It's interesting to me. Part of me would almost, there's a portion of it on the tail end of the palate that's reminiscent of rye, but I don't know that there's any in the mash bill for this one. But yeah, layers upon layers upon layers of caramel. First sip, it's got a nice little bite to the side of the tongue. Second sip, you go back through, and it doubles up on the caramel for me and the sweetness more than anything. A lot of the other wheated whiskeys that we've had a little bit more of the grain notes to it, a little bit more of that taste, and almost like an oatmeal cookie or something like that. And I'm not really getting that with this one, where I've experienced it with others. I'm not saying that's a bad thing necessarily, just that it's a bit different from the norm in my particular experience.
Yeah, on the second sip, I'm getting more honey notes than any. That's the sweetness comes over as honey more than caramel. I mean, at first it was very caramel, and now it's more like a honey note, and it does have a little bit of a bready aspect to it. I'm also getting some tannins on that second sip too on the back end that I didn't get previously, and that's not my favorite finish.
No, I agree, and that is something that definitely stands out, especially towards the finish. And I would have to agree with you. It's less caramel and then moves more towards honey. I will say I'm really impressed with the texture of this one. It is fairly viscous. I like a thicker whiskey. And considering the ABV, this one actually holds up pretty well in that regard.
Yeah, it is thick. It's got nice oils to it. You really get that really good. I hate to use this term, but mouthfeel. It really has a very good mouthfeel to it.
Yeah, no, I'm very impressed by that aspect of it. Just a pleasant whiskey, honestly. For me, Again, I've had plenty of other wheated whiskeys, and it's solid, it's tasty, it's good. I don't know that it's necessarily outstanding for me.
Right.
And I think that's the part that I'm kind of struggling with right now. I'm looking for that thing, you know?
Yeah, no, I mean, I completely understand where you're coming from. It's not like it's all that. It's good. It's certainly worth having a bottle of this in your bar.
Oh, it's the third. Look, if you can get it at MSRP 32, 35, somewhere in that ballpark, hell, 40.
40, yeah.
I'd spend that all day long. I think it's that good of a whiskey. It lives up to that price point. I think as the price point starts getting higher than that, I would have a difficult time justifying this one, knowing that there are others out there that perhaps would hold up a little better and offer a little bit more something special.
Yeah, exactly. For the same price, I would still go with Larceny.
Yeah, I would too. I've just had it. Maybe it's a taste thing, but for me, I prefer the Larceny over this still.
Yeah. I will never turn down a glass of this. Let's be completely honest about that.
Well, and this is one that it's real easy to drink. I mean, there is nothing harsh about this at all.
But drinking this, the only thing the thought that came through my mind was this would be great in an old fashioned.
That's a very good point. I would agree wholeheartedly with you. And it's funny, we've been sitting here talking, and as the vapors kind of work their way through, I'm getting a little bit more of that kind of grain that I'm looking for. But it took a while to kind of get there, whereas a lot of the other ones, that aspect is a bit more forward. Interesting. It's nice to go back to this one and kind of reminisce a little bit and see if it still stays in the same position. I think from the sounds of it, it kind of does for both of us.
So what do you think on our scale, 1 to 5? 1 being and 5 being woo-hoo?
Yeah, it's definitely not 5 territory. I'm going to give this one a 3.5. I think it's better than average. I don't think it's anywhere near approaching the top tier, but it's solid.
Yeah, I'm going to go a solid 3 on it. I think it deserves every bit of that.
Yeah.
I think there's others that I would prefer to grab.
I agree wholeheartedly.
And and like I said, I wouldn't turn down a glass of this, but now I'm starting to think of what I'd mix it with.
Yeah. That said, you could drink this one real quick and not know it.
Yes, and I know that's sacrilege, and I know there's an angry mob about ready to storm the front door, but I think that's fair.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, well, very interesting and kind of nice to go back and revisit this one.
Yeah, it really was.
Well, thanks for joining us, everyone. I hope you had a good time.
Yeah, we sure did. We'll catch you on the next one.
Take care.
Okay, bye.